Epic Showdown. Emma Raducanu versus Jessica Pegula. Who will triumph in the third round of the China Open? Trophy collision. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. The night was electric in Beijing. The China Open, one of the crown jewels of the tennis calendar, had reached the third round, where only the strongest remained. The sprawling National Tennis Center buzzed with anticipation, its seats filling with fans waving both British and American flags. In the air lingered that intoxicating mix of tension and possibility, the kind of energy that only comes before a clash between two players from very different paths, yet bound by the same dream. On one side of the draw stood Emma Raducanu, Britain's young prodigy, a player who had stunned the world with a fairy tale run at the 2021 U.S. Open, winning a Grand Slam at just 18 without dropping a set. She was no longer the mysterious newcomer. She was a fighter clawed her way back from injuries, determined to prove she wasn't a one-hit wonder. On the other stood Jessica Pegula, the steady hand, the late bloomer who had risen through grit and relentless hard work. Pegula, seated high, wasn't just a competitor. She was a measuring stick for consistency on the tour. The daughter of sports moguls, she had carved her own identity, shrugging off the shadow of privilege with sweat and resilience, climbing into the top 5 through sheer tenacity. The clash wasn't just about advancing to the quarterfinals. It was about identity. It was about storylines colliding, youthful fire versus seasoned steel, unpredictability versus reliability, stardom against steadiness. And as the clock ticked closer to match time, the tennis world held its breath. Emma's reawakening. Emma Raducanu had walked through the tunnel with her usual quiet determination. Her headphones blared with music, songs that carried her back to that magic fortnight in New York. The memory of Arthur Ashe Stadium still lingered in her mind, like a ghost she both feared and cherished. The years since had been rocky. Injuries had plagued her. The media had feasted on her struggles. Headlines screamed that she was done, that she was a shooting star who had burned out too soon. But Emma was stubborn. She refused to let that narrative write itself. This match is everything, she whispered to herself. For Emma, Beijing wasn't just another stop on the tour. It was a proving ground, a chance to send a message that she was back in form, back in fight, and hungrier than ever. Beating Pegula would mean silencing doubters, reclaiming her place among the elites, and maybe, just maybe, setting herself up for a deep run that could redefine her career. Pegula's iron will. Across the locker room, Jessica Pegula laced her shoes with the ritual precision of a veteran. Nothing flashy, nothing rushed, just calm, methodical preparation. She knew her game inside out. Solid ground strokes, reliable serve, tactical awareness. Pegula didn't chase headlines. She wasn't the kind of player who sparked viral moments. Instead, she embodied persistence. For years, she had hovered below the radar, slowly building her resume, chipping away at the rankings until suddenly she was there, top 5, competing against the very best. Raducanu has flair, Pegula admitted in her pre-match press. But flair doesn't always win matches. Consistency does. She wasn't dismissive. She respected Emma's talent. But Pegula also knew that her greatest weapon wasn't just her skill, it was her mental stability. When chaos hit, Pegula thrived. And tonight, she expected chaos. The arena awakens. The stadium lights blaze down on the court as the announcer's voice thundered through the arena. Ladies and gentlemen, from Great Britain, Emma Raducanu. A roar erupted. The young Brit walked out, calm but intense, her white visor tilted low, racket gripped firmly in her hand. And her opponent from the United States of America, Jessica Pegula. The crowd rose again, this time a mix of cheers and respectful applause. Pegula jogged onto the court, unfazed, a picture of poise. The two met at the net, shook hands with the umpire, and exchanged a glance. Not hostile, not friendly, just that silent acknowledgement. Tonight, one of us will walk away victorious, and the other will walk away broken. First set, sparks fly. The match began with Raducanu serving. The first ball cracked through the night air, a clean ace down the tee. The crowd erupted. Emma pumped her fist. Pegula, however, responded like stone. She weathered Emma's fiery start with her trademark consistency, pushing long rallies, forcing errors, drawing Raducanu into uncomfortable exchanges. By the third game, Pegula had broken serve, but Emma wasn't done. She unleashed backhand winners, roared after every point, her movement crisp and her energy contagious. The set spiraled into a tug-of-war, both players exchanging breaks, both refusing to yield. At 5-5, Emma faced a crucial break point. Pegula attacked her second serve, but Raducanu ripped a forehand winner that painted a line. The crowd leapt to their feet. Moments later, Emma held serve, then broke Pegula in dramatic fashion to steal the first set 7-5. The stadium shook. Raducanu roared. The upset was alive. Second set, Pegula strikes back. But champions don't crumble after losing a set. Pegula knew this. She came out in the second set like a storm. Serves deeper, returns sharper, footwork immaculate. Suddenly, the rallies tilted in her favor. Emma scrambled, diving to keep points alive, but Pegula's precision began suffocating her. Game by game, Pegula dismantled Raducanu's rhythm. She wasn't flashy, but she was relentless. 1,000 paper cuts. A wall Emma couldn't quite break. Within half an hour, Pegula had sealed the set 6-2. It was one set apiece. The showdown had reached its climax. Final set, the war within. The final set began past midnight. Tension thick enough to slice. The crowd leaned forward, every gasp echoing through the court. Emma dug deep, summoning her U.S. Open spirit, chasing every ball with ferocity. Pegula, calm as ever, refused to panic. The games ticked by, 1-1, 2-2, 3-3. Neither gave an inch. At 4-4, Raducanu faced break point. A 17-shot rally ensued, ending with Pegula striking a backhand winner down the line. The American pumped her fist for the first time all night. She had the break. Serving for the match at 5-4, Pegula stepped up. The crowd roared for Raducanu, urging her to resist. Emma fought back to 30-30, but a missed forehand into the net gave Pegula match point. The final rally was brutal. Cross-court forehands, deep backhands, a test of wills. Finally, Emma's shot drifted just wide. Game. Set. Match. Pegula wins 5-7, 6-2, 6-4. Aftermath. Pegula raised her arms, calm but triumphant. She had survived the storm, outlasted the prodigy, and booked her place in the quarterfinals. Emma Raducanu, meanwhile, stood at the baseline, chest heaving, disappointment etched on her face. Yet the ovation that thundered through the stadium was for her as much as it was for Pegula. She had fought. She had shown flashes of her brilliance. She wasn't done, not by a long shot. In her post-match interview, Pegula was gracious. Emma played incredible. She's tough, she's talented, and she pushed me to the limit. Matches like these are why we play. Raducanu, holding back tears, said softly, "I'm proud of the way I competed. I'll keep working. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Till next time."